morning, everybody. How are you? Hope you're having a lovely day. I'm sitting here with Booger. She's currently on my lap. There she is. There's Booger. And she's curled up and she's all over me this morning. Hi, Booger. Hi. Yes, hello. So, yeah. So I was just browsing around on YouTube and I noticed that Life and Vibe had done a community post talking about another YouTuber by the name of Curtis Price, who had done a sort of a documentary type thing on Foodie Beauty. And I was very interested. I had never heard of Curtis Price, but they seem to have a very big channel. And so I wanted to check it out. And the name of the video from Curtis Price is The Weight Loss YouTuber Who Became Obese for Views, Foodie Beauty. Now, Curtis has, like I said, a very, very big channel, like over 83,000 subscribers, and I'm pretty sure he didn't have to buy his subs. It seems like he does excellent work. I also found out that he did another video on Chantal about 4 years ago. I might check that out as well and react to that too. But he does a video detailing how Chantal has essentially gotten big for views. And from what I've seen so far, I just watched the first few minutes of the video you put together, Curtis. Really well done. Thing is, the rabbit hole is darker and deeper than you know, sir. It isn't just about her coming on camera and eating for YouTube. That rabbit hole is deeper and darker than you could ever imagine. She is doing what's called feeder content. And if you ever look that up, that's one heck of a rabbit hole. And it goes in many different directions. But she caters to a niche group of people in her audience. But wait, it gets worse. Not only does she cater to those people on YouTube, I feel she's using her YouTube channel as a sort of portal to get in front of those fetish guys, to introduce herself, to let them know what kind of content she can do. And then later on, they contact her through things, say, such as Cameo or Instagram, and pay her using PayPal, because she has given out her PayPal on YouTube. And they pay her for private content. And don't know how much she gets paid for the private content. I guess it all depends on what she does and for how long. But YouTube used to be her main source of income. So she was very focused on doing many videos, making sure it was quality content. Now, not so much. I think the emphasis is finding the fetish guys and catering to their niche and getting them to pay her quick, fast money off of YouTube. YouTube is just the portal to get in front of them. Normally, people who do the food fetish content, they take the fetish content and put it on a private forum such as OnlyHands or Patreon. That's the way it's usually done. But Chantal, she knew that if she did that, it would not be in front of the public. It would not be public content, less chance of being seen by the public. Also, when you are on a private forum such as Patreon or OnlyHands, you also have a great deal of competition because there are other people on those forums doing that kind of content. So she would be in direct competition with those people. And she doesn't like competition. She doesn't know how to handle it. When you also have a private forum, then there's the task of advertising yourself. Because let's just say you have a profile on OnlyHands. Well, then you have to go to a public forum of some sort, some kind of public forum that will allow you to advertise that other forum. So you have to make the content and you have to attract an audience. To do so, you have to use other means. You got to go outside that forum and look around. too much work for Chantal. So she decided the easiest thing to do, the most profitable thing to do, was to take fetish content and put it on a public free forum where there's a lot of traffic, and she wouldn't have to do so much work. So that's been going on for years, sir. Absolutely for years, and it's only getting worse. And more people are waking up to the fact that she is catering to the food fetish guys really hardcore, like in a really major way. A lot of people are pointing it out. A lot of people are talking about it. And I feel that Chantal, she's at a point where she's like, okay, everybody knows about it, so I'm just going to go full throttle with it. And so she is. So yeah, Curtis, the rabbit hole is deep. And the food fetish thing, it goes off in many different directions. I think the only thing that Chantal hasn't done related to that would shock us all, but it would also be against YouTube's terms of service, is funneling. And for those who are wondering, what is funneling? It's literally what it sounds like, y'all. It's when you take some food, like say ice cream, and you put it in a blender, and there's this long tube with a funnel on like a thing on top, and you pour what's in the contents of the blender. You blend it all up, and then you pour it into the thing, and then it goes down the tube, and the person essentially is taking it in through the tube. I think Chantal probably has done that, or at least thought about it, because a lot of the food fetish guys get into that. She just won't do it on YouTube because of terms of service. If you don't know what funneling is, if you want a full picture, feel free to look it up yourself. I don't want to show it to you, but it's pretty crazy. So she hasn't done the funneling yet, but I think the terms of service is the only thing stopping her. Okay, so I want to get into this documentary, sorry. And before we do that, though, let me just show you some quick things on Twitter first before we get into it. Hi, Booger. My baby's on my lap. Hey, you Booger. She's been tearing up my couch. You guys can see she's been tearing up my doggone couch. Morning zoomies, cat things. Okay. All right. So let's start here. For those of you that are on Twitter that would like to follow me on Twitter, it's Wild Girl Sarah. Whenever I do a live or a video or anything, I post on YouTube as well as YouTube. Did I post on YouTube? Did I say that? I need more coffee. Hold on. Take two. Whenever I post on YouTube, I post on Twitter. Before I post on YouTube, that's what I meant to say. Like, I got this kitty in my lap. I got a kitty in my lap. The baby. So let's get started here. She's just feeling very lovey this morning. All right, this is from Abandoned Places. You're probably wondering, why did I save this picture? I saved it for a reason, because I think I can make this into an excellent ambiance video. Look, I have a love for abandoned places. Y'all should know that. Or if you don't know that, you know that now. I love abandoned places, like abandoned hotels and motels. For some reason, I just have this quirk about abandoned motels. Like they have a certain kind of energy, but just I wish that I could travel around with a camera and take all kinds of interesting pictures about abandoned places, like an abandoned mansion. Like this, because it's kind of an eerie, spooky feeling. Abandoned houses and buildings, they have like a certain kind of energy to them. And you can feel that as you're walking through. So I love this picture of an abandoned diner. And I think I could make that into a great ambiance video of some sort. I'm going to look into it. Okay, moving on. How about something positive from Science Girl? Raccoons trying to catch a rainbow. Look, raccoons, they can get pretty big, but they're such intelligent animals. They're funny. They're really funny. And they love to wash their food. They love to wash their hands. So there you go. Something in your day to make it brighter. Raccoons trying to catch a rainbow. All right, Ghost Crab says the face you make when you finally realize you might be 1 cup of rice away from a blank. So here's a still from her latest mukbang. This is what Chantal's doing currently. Like this whole mukbang thing, she's going full throttle with it. I'm not reacting to that video. You guys can see why, okay? Like there's no interesting commentary. It's just her with a plate of sloppy food. She likes to call herself Foodie Beauty. But true foodies, they want to know where their food has come from. They want to know where it is sourced. Even those who are mukbangers on YouTube, they wised up to the game. And when they do a mukbang video, they take time to prepare everything. The food itself, they want to make sure the colors are popping, that everything looks appealing, the background is nice. I've seen quite a few mukbangers on YouTube. Like, it's a production. Even when you do a mukbang video, it's a production. Everything looks nice. Everything looks polished. Chantal is still back in the early mukbang days where it was unpolished and it was a bit rough around the edges. Everybody is miles ahead of her. She doesn't even take the time to do a proper mukbang video where people will look at it and say, I would love to eat that food. She always puts mess on a plate and gobbles it down as fast as she can. So is it a true mukbang? Not really. I would not consider what she does to be a mukbang. You don't get the sensation of, like, just to give some context, y'all. How did the mukbang thing start? It started in Korea. And this was a while ago. The mukbang trend started, I believe it was Korea. And it started because over in Korea, it was not the norm for people to go out alone and eat. You know, usually you eat with family and friends. You go out in a group. So people would get online and eat a meal, a simple meal, a regular meal. They would turn their camera on and eat a very simple meal. And those who were, say, working or alone could sit and watch those people and eat alongside them and kind of get the sensation or the feeling of eating with somebody. That is how mukbang started. It wasn't about crazy eating. It wasn't about eating gargantuan amounts of food in a gross way. No, it was a whole different experience then. And then it came over to the Americas, to the Western world, and it just got blown out of proportion and turned into something else. So this is not a mukbang. Like if I were somebody looking for a true mukbang, I would, first of all, I would be turned off by the food itself because that just looks gross. Secondly, I would not get the sensation of, if I were alone and looking for someone to make me feel like I'm eating with somebody, I would not get that sensation here. I would get completely turned off. So I wouldn't really call you a mukbanger, Chantal. I would just simply call you somebody as you want to get on YouTube and do really lazy content. You don't want to put any work into your content. You don't want to make the food look good. You don't want to make the background look good, although you could, because how much time does it take to set up a green screen and give a nice background? I mean, really, how much time does it take? You don't take any pride in yourself. You don't take any pride in your content, and it shows. And that's why the views are lacking. You're not giving anything for your viewers to look forward to. It's really weird. You want to make money on YouTube, yet you don't take the time and set things up to where it's a video that is going to look nice 4 or 5 years from now. You're going for the quick hit. And you make a little bit of money, and that's all you're going to make. because after that mukbang is done, no one's going to watch it. No one's going to care. Versus making a video that's evergreen that will make money for you forever. You're just not being smart. Okay. Kelly, that's courtesy of Ghost Crab. Kelly says, this was funny to me. I like Brenda. Let's watch.
I made a mess with the sugars.
Brenda says, girl, we know your sugars are a mess. We've seen the readings. I like Brenda too. That was a great comment. That was really great. Okay, heads up, girl world. Kristen posted, Natter has been streaming on Dee Dee's channel the past couple of days. So you know what time it is. Copy the link below and follow the steps in the video. And since you'll already have the link copy, might as well report the Natty Daddy channel too while you're at YouTube. So I haven't seen, but I have heard that Natter is on Dee Dee's channel. I don't know why he is. I mean, I don't think the Natty Daddy Baddies channel is in trouble. So why is he on her channel? Is it to avoid trouble for his channel? I don't know. But just letting y'all know what's going on with Natter. Okay, Miss Anthropope Lulu says, if you want to know just how extreme Chantal's magic filters really are, check out the shape of her YouTube plaque compared to Mr. Snowflake's unfiltered one. Well, let's see. I would love to see. Let's look here. Jump scare. So there's her plaque back there. There's Mr. Snowflake's plaque placed directly behind him so we can see it. Yeah, you know what? It looks like it's a bit stretched. I know that Chantal likes to use the stretch filter with herself. Why does she use the stretch filter? Well, because when you stretch something out, it makes it appear taller and thinner. You know, like when you elongate something, it takes some of the width off of it. So I think she's using the stretch filter when she goes online. Okay, this is from Tap Von B. And the person you're going to hear talking is No Madness Life. The theory about Salah having a son named Omar. He did a Facebook post, basically translated this, like father of Omar. Do I think he might have a child? Perhaps. Just because he doesn't have a wife doesn't mean he doesn't have a child. There's just been all kinds of weirdness with that. But I wanted to include this clip in with this reacts. So let's listen.
Insulting. I think Salah has a son. Of course he has a son. I've been saying that from the get-go, Chrisley girl. Listen, in 2014, he would have been, or no, 2000, yeah, it was 2014. He would have been 19 or 20, right? And his Facebook said, father of Omar in Arabic. Abu Amar or something like that. But that means father of Omar, not son of Omar. It means father of Omar. And he put down in there a heart and said, my beautiful wife.
Oh. That was long ago, though. So here's my question. If father of Omar, he might have a son, and he made a heart saying, my beautiful wife. That was a while ago. So could he not be married these days? Because, just because you're married before doesn't mean you might be married now. But regardless of a marriage, if you have a son, I mean, you have a son. So everybody's wondering, does he have a child with somebody? Is he married? I mean, I have seen things that made me go, Like if you guys go back, thinking about the grocery hauls that Chantal has done in the past, some of the things that she has bought, it felt like she was buying for another family. Like I remember quite a few grocery hauls. She bought a lot of groceries. And then suddenly a lot of them would disappear. And some of the items seemed to be geared towards children, like the juice boxes. Where'd they all go? But it felt like she was buying groceries for more than one family. So my question is, was she buying for herself and also a family that Salah might have had? It's just weird, you know? Just weird.
So he has privated his Facebook since everybody exposed it long time ago, 2 years ago. Yeah, we believe his son's name is Omar. Absolutely. She's blocked the name Omar in her chat.
Yeah, why would you do that? Why would you block the name Omar in your chat? Why not just say, look, guys, I know you've heard this rumor. It's not true. Why block the name Omar in your chat?
And we have seen the child's feet in the room when she was panning down at the table in the shack they stayed at when she first got there. We've seen his feet. I believe we've seen him at the war-torn museum. You can say that's Murad's kid, but if you've seen Murad's kid, you'll know it wasn't. And I think that's why they went to all the aquariums, the petting zoos, blah, blah, blah. And we also heard him in the last apartment. We heard the child come into the room during her live stream. She looked over at him and he said, "Can I have some milk?"
Wow.
So I don't care what people say, but there has been more proof that he does have a kid than he doesn't.
You know, if Salah does have a child, I really, really hope that he does not bring the child around Fraudy. Salah, I don't know if you're ever going to see this video, but Fraudy does not like children. She hates children. She goes after single mothers on YouTube. She got a hatred for other women, but especially women that have children. She's especially vicious to them, but she does not like kids. She has no patience for kids. So keep any children, whether they belong to you or not, away from Chantal. And certainly, sir, do not leave a child in the presence of Fraudy. Please don't. She's not a good person. I'm not saying that she would do anything violent to the children, but it's not somebody you can trust. You understand? She is not someone that you can leave a child with. Just don't do it. But do I feel that Salah has a child? Yes. Because every time I do readings on Salah, and I'm not the only one, like Neo Tarot has seen this too, there's the subject of children keeps coming up. Something about a child, something about a child, something about a child. Just children are involved somehow. So there's children around. And if there are children about, it's not a case of Chantal like, oh, I love kids. No. She's dealing with it because she has to. And I'm sorry, I wouldn't trust a child around her. Look at the way she's treated her pets. Screw her.
So I'm not even getting into that. It's kind of like trying to referee Palestine versus Israel social media.
Okay, so that's the clip from Tat Von B, and that is No Madness Life talking. Okay, something positive from Massimo. Stunning 820-year-old linden tree in the Czech Republic. Wow. So for those of you that have never seen a tree that is, goodness gracious, almost 1,000 years old, there you go. Stunning. Nature is amazing. Okay, Miss Facto, an amazing initiative to save reindeer, which might also look a little creepy at night. So for those who are wondering what is going on here, let's go on to this post below to explain. Nature is Amazing says, today I learned that in Finland, they used to have about 4,000 reindeer car accidents a year So they painted their antlers with reflective paint, and this is vaguely terrifying. So this is the idea that Finland came up with. In order to save the reindeer from being hit by cars, they decided to put reflective paint on their antlers so that anybody who's driving a car that a reindeer is close by, they could see the antlers. And I guess this has helped saving the reindeer. I actually think that's a great idea. It's a little weird, but hey, it works. Absolutely works. All right, so that's it for all this stuff on Twitter for now. And let's get into the I want to say documentary. It's a video. How would you classify this, Curtis? Is it a documentary? Is it an episode? Is it a video? Whatever it is, it's well done, sir. Well done. And I'm going to leave a link for the original video in the description. Please check out the video on Curtis's channel. And give a like, give a sub, tell them how much you enjoyed it. Because, you know, like documentaries, they do take time to put together, to put everything into a storyboard. I know this for fact. I've had friends that I watched them put documentary type things together, and it took so long just hunting up all this stuff and making it cohesive. So big ups to anybody doing documentary stuff on YouTube. Okay, so here we go. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, so there's going to be a lot of past clips of Fraudy on here. That's Nikocado Avocado, by the way. His story is also a bit disturbing, because I remember reading things about Nikocado. He started out as a vegan YouTuber promoting healthy living. And then I don't know exactly when the turn happened, but he decided to go all in with the mukbang content, and he started making more money, but also his health started to have issues. You know, and that's the price you pay when you decide to trade everybody your health for a paycheck. There are many mukbangers that they go all in with the mukbanging, and they don't take care of themselves, and they start gaining weight, and they start having health issues, and it's just not worth it. You know, health is wealth. You got to value that kind of wealth. You can't trade it all away for YouTube paycheck, but some people decided to, and they're dealing with the consequences. So let's watch the video together, and I'm going to give my points of view, as well as Curtis giving his points of view as well.
Constantly pushing the boundaries of human understanding. And in Chantal Marie's case, the bigger the belly, the bigger the back. She is what I would describe as a human food vacuum. Someone who displays no shame whatsoever.
I'm eating my cheat day.
Constantly releasing greasy films on camera that she believes will greater her financial status. However, ladies and gentlemen, this is only nibbling the surface. And what better way to conduct this video than through the only way Chantal knows best, through large portions of various foods. And in each serving of today's video, we will discover together her problematic behavior, poor discipline, her trouble in love life, disgustingly overshared details, and several more things. Before we dive into the several roles that Chantal is made up of, allow me to give you... But I will warn you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are eating, you better put those knives and forks down, for the beast Chantal is roaming around.
Get on my knees, start doing my thing. And so it comes out both ends.
I wasn't ready. I was not ready for that part. I'm so glad I wasn't drinking my coffee when she said that. I would have spit it out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You gotta laugh. You're so grossed out. You gotta laugh. What? Ew. God. Oh my God. What?
And I had a skirt on and a G-string. The barf goes projectile all over their wall. The poop goes all over their floor, and I smell bad.
That is diabolical. How can she truly say something so disgusting with a mouthful of pasta? The backstory behind this clip is that she was invited to have a threesome with a man and his girlfriend, and in the process of being at their house, she rushed to the bathroom and quote unquote, it came out of both ends. And that is why you limit yourself to one big
You know, there's one thing to be, hold on a second. There's one thing that should be realized when it comes to Chantal's content. What's the first rule of Foodieverse? Chantal lies. If you don't remember anything else, remember that. Chantal lies. Also keep in mind that long ago, Chantal said she wanted to be on a reality show, but she did not like the idea of being on a reality show and having to follow somebody else's rules. And she said, quote, they don't pay enough. So what she decided to do was make her own reality show on YouTube. That way she got 100% of the money. She got to control the narrative. She could add or subtract people as she pleased. She refers to her channel as her story. And that's an important detail. She calls it her story. What anybody out there, you've ever watched a movie or you've read a book, it's a story. A story is playing out in front of you. So the story could be 100% true or 75% true or 35% true or completely made up. And from everything what I've seen of Chantal, most of what you see and most of what you hear is made up. One second. My lips are a bit dry. In my opinion, after watching Chantal for years, I think Chantal is a one-layer person. And she's led a boring life. But she decided to get on YouTube. And she wanted to make content. And she wanted to appear as an interesting person with many layers. You know, so to add different layers to her cake, she would make stuff up about herself. Shocking things, dramatic things. Claiming to have gone through different kinds of trauma and pain. When the truth of the matter is, she lived an ordinary life. Nothing bad really happened to her. But to come on YouTube and tell that truth would not be interesting enough to attract people. So she decided to make up different toxic layers and add them to her cake to attract viewers of different kinds. And she purposely sought out different layers. And she talked about different things such as weight loss, DV, SA, depression, mental struggles. I mean, she purposely targeted those different kinds of areas of YouTube to bring more people in and make them part of her audience. She's a broken person who is looking for people that in a way that they are broken or they have issues to take advantage of, in my opinion. You know, like looking for those who might have a weakness that she can prey upon and take advantage of by way of making them feel sympathetic to her. And when she does a live, you know, she gets live chats for that.
Not several. You'd be surprised to hear that this is barely the worst thing she's admitted to. She once disclosed that she offered herself up as a prostitute, but not for money, but because she was in desperate need of a cheeseburger. But this is a story for another dish that will be served in today's video. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I will be having this video. It is just me, a one-man army, doing everything by myself. So I would appreciate it if you did subscribe, because we are trying to hit 100k by September. And if you fail to do so, not to worry, I will send Chantel to clear out your fridge. And don't think she won't sniff out your secret snack drawer. This beast runs wild in the presence of Mars bars. But now allow me,
One moment,
your chef,
please.
to give you this.
Okay, let's continue.
As we've seen, Chantel is very open about her life. However, during her moments of transparency, she seems completely oblivious to how her actions affect others. When Chantel was 15, she started dating a 21-year-old man who simultaneously had a 21-year-old pregnant girlfriend. Keeping in mind she has disclosed several times to her audience that she has an interest in older men, which springs from her quote-unquote daddy issues. Daddy issues is one thing, but I'm sure you know that you've got much larger issues in your shopping basket. But if
Now, Chantal has confessed that she has quote unquote daddy issues and also abandonment issues. I did some reading up on Chantal a while back. Her mother got pregnant with Chantal when she was very, very young. And it was said that her mother tried to baby trap her father. And that did not go over well. So Chantal's mother had Chantal at a very early age, that the grandmother was the one who basically took care of Chantal. But Chantal has some abandonment issues. And watching her with different men, especially with Salah, I keep getting the sense that Chantal may be trying to treat Salah as kind of I know this is going to sound really weird, sorry, as like a surrogate father in a way. Like she really wants to just let go of all responsibility and just in a strange way almost be a child again by saying, here, you take care of all the bills, you take care of all the rent, and then just let me be free to indulge in this food issue. I just want to be at home, lay in the seal position and not worry about a thing. So she created an environment in which she could do that, which has been absolutely horrible for her health. You know, finding ways to indulge in something toxic and increase the toxicity for the sake of living out her fantasy life of sorts. But she has confessed to abandonment issues, daddy issues. But Chantal, if you're trying to find a partner, a man, to replace your father, only a person who is truly a father figure can give that kind of love to you. Trying to treat your partner as your partner and your daddy, it doesn't work. It absolutely does not work. But also, to add to that, I think Chantal likes to go after men that are with other people. She looks at that as a challenge. Like, oh, this person is with another person. Let's see if I can take them away. She never goes after men that are alone and they're independent and they've got their own deal going on. I have noticed over time, and the time that I've been watching Chantal, the last true independent good man that she had in her life was BB. BB had a good job. He had his own home, was working really hard. Have y'all noticed that BB was the last good one that had his act together, could stand on his own 2 feet? After she and BB broke up, after BB, every man that followed after BB, she always seemed to pick out men that were, say, financially hurting, because she herself, in my opinion, is a weak person looking for weaker people to prey upon and to get control over. She got control over Pete's. In the beginning, when they lived together at the villa, Pete's had his own job and he had his own money. And I can't remember exactly what happened with Pete's, but at some point I think he lost his job or he quit his job. But Chantal kept hounding him to leave his job and join her on YouTube and be kind of a co-pilot. And he resisted for quite a while. And then something happened. He was no longer working. And then once that happened, Chantal had complete control. And he joined her on YouTube. But after a while of doing live streams with him, she became visibly annoyed, just rolling her eyes when he would come in the room, looking uncomfortable when he can come talk to her. She just got bored of him. And then she moved on to Natter, was completely enthralled with Natter, and then she had the same reactions with him. But I believe she chose Natter because he was financially hurting. She seduced him with the money. Oh, you don't have to work today. Just I'll pay for everything. She was coming off as being helpful and generous when in fact, everything she did, it was all about creating leverage for herself and control over him. So BB was the last good one. And then she got full control of Pete's. Then she tried to get full control over Natter. And then now we are here with Salah. And Salah is depending on her money. So for her, it's always been about finding a guy that she can control with her money and putting them in a position where they can't leave. You know, making sure that there's no way for them to escape. And if they think they can escape, if they try to, then she will perhaps threaten them in some way or cause a bunch of ruckus or threaten to go with the police. I mean, this is a very, very manipulative woman we're talking about. Like, nobody leaves Chantal. It's over when she says it's over. It's not about being over because it should be over. It's about nobody leaves Chantal until she's ready to let you go. And she's not going to let you go until after she's done with you. And there's nothing more that she could take from you. And there's nothing more for you to give her. That's when finally she might let you go.
She thought Chantel dating a man 6 years older than her was bad enough. You should see the level of mass in her next problem. Now, this is where, ladies and gentlemen, the self-serving side of Chantel began to sizzle through. In one of her videos, she expressed a strong desire to spend the night with her new lover. Predictably, her request was denied, as any responsible parent would do in such a situation. However, Chantel found this response unacceptable and decided to retaliate against her family in a cruel manner. And what was that cruel manner, you might ask? Well, she attempted to get back at her family by faking a suicide attempt.
Yeah, and this story that she told, we found out much later on that really she was borrowing parts of somebody else's story. This wasn't 100% true, her story. This was her borrowing off of somebody else's experience and turning it into her story and making it about her when it wasn't really about her. It was somebody else's story for the sake of getting attention for herself and making money on YouTube. For the life of me, I can't understand why anybody would come on YouTube and confess, even in a lie, how manipulative they are, that they're going to manipulate their family using something so serious. But we are talking about Chantal. Her well of shame has no bottom. Absolutely no bottom.
Emptied out half my bottle of I think it was Zoloft I was on, antidepressants or something. I showed her the bottle and I said, I'm gonna kill myself. I took half the bottle and I hadn't.
As we can see, this is someone who will do anything to get their own way. Someone who lacks empathy for those around her. She is consumed with her own needs and desires. But are we really surprised? I mean, she's as heavy as a cow and built like a woolly mammoth. And this is further demonstrated when she was taken from hospital and committed to a mental institute. And this mental institute, she shared a room with a second person who was suffering with anorexia. This doesn't sound good.
You could tell her family really loved her. And they would bring her all kinds of candy, big tubs of gummy bears, and just junk food surrounded her bed. They wanted to eat, you know? I had said to her at some point, are you going to eat those candy? And I think she kind of caught on because she, gave them to me. She gave me her candy.
So Chantel.
Okay, stop right here. There's something I'd like to show y'all in the comments, and it makes perfect sense. So I'm going to stop here and go to the comments because there's a really great comment from Lime Jello, credit to Lime Jello, saying, as a retired registered nurse, the story about the Anna girl having tons of candy at her bedside is false. First of all, we never roomed an Anna person with another patient. Secondly, an Anna patient isn't allowed to have food at the bedside. Everything they eat is counted and calculated very correctly. Any food or drink bought, and then it cuts off. But it makes sense to me. If you are if you are a nurse or a doctor, you are in a facility where you have different patients with different things going on. Why would you put two people with completely opposite problems together? Someone who might have BED or a food addiction, and put them with an ANA patient, knowing that the person in the room who has the problem where they're over consuming food or consuming too much, they have access to food, allegedly. If the ANA patient has food in the room, you got to know that the person who's got the obsession with food is going to go after it. So Chantal's story doesn't sound right, does it? It really doesn't sound right. But here is Chantal, in my opinion, making up a story that is not true for the sake of getting attention for herself, making up a story that makes her sound awful. Well, let's just say this story was true. Here she is basically self-confessing that here's this other patient in the same room as her that needs to consume food. And because she is obsessed with food, she's taking food away from that other person who might need it. Like, that's just beyond evil.
Was really telling us that she took food from a recovering anorexic just to satisfy her own greed. And the way she described it as well, the food surrounded her bed.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that the food be surrounding her bed. Again, why would a nurse or a doctor put two patients with opposing problems in the same room, first of all, and the person who is obsessed with food, the food's right there in front of them, because the doctors know what's going to happen. That the other person may want that food. Why would they allow that?
Oh, no, please.
Feed me. Mama Bear's hungry.
Oh, leave my food alone. It's not yours, it's mine.
The beast must feed.
Oh, no.
The
Oh, please,
beast
it's
must
mine.
feed.
The crazy thing about Chantal is that she makes up lies. And some of the lies she makes up, they don't make her sound very good. They make her sound much more vicious and malicious and uncaring and non-sympathetic and just monstrous. Why would you make up those kind of lies about yourself? For shock, for drama? It just makes you seem like a really crap human. Why would you want anybody to know that or think that about you?
I mean, come on, let's not lie to ourselves. That's probably what happened. Now, while some may label this as a difficult time period, Chantal labeled it as one of the best experiences of her life.
You know what? Out of being one of the best experiences of my life.
It's kind of sad, Chantal. Your favorite memories is stealing food from a recovering anorexic, someone who needs it way more than you do. Trust
Right.
me, you've had more than enough love. Now, let me ask you something, ladies and gentlemen. How on earth did she escape that mental institution? Well, that's right, you guessed it. She ate and devoured all the staff members. Now, putting the comedy aside, I would like to ask you one serious question. Could you ever imagine manipulating your sweet grandmother? Because that's exactly what Fraudy Booty, aka Chantal, did.
The plan was to run away and call my grandmother because I knew my grandmother didn't know I was there. I let my grandmother into feeling.
So she confessed that she manipulated her grandmother. You know, the same grandma that when grandma passed away, the day of her funeral, first of all, she went to the funeral dressed inappropriately. Skin tight zebra dress. We all remember that. The day of the funeral, she didn't spend time with her mother, which was her grandmother's daughter. She didn't spend time with her mom, comforting her mom, saying, "Hey, mom, I'm here for you. Do you need me to do anything?" I just sitting with mom, because mom had just lost her mother. Now, what did she do? She spent time with Natter and talking about OnlyFans, doing OnlyFans content on the day of her grandmother's funeral. Horrible. This was also the same grandmother that while she was with Natter, knowing that grandma was getting ready to pass, didn't make a point to try to visit her as much as possible. She only went to the hospice where Grandma was just to take a selfie with Grandma and post it on social media in a really tacky attempt to seem like a caring granddaughter. You know, she could have taken the picture with Grandma and kept it private as she should, but she chose to put it on social media, on YouTube. In my opinion, that should not have been done. You know, because Grandma was not well. And then later on, after Grandma had passed, talking in detail, disgusting, tacky detail about her grandmother's death rattle. I mean, who does that? They're just some things you keep to yourself. Private, personal things, not Chantal. She's all about exploiting anything and everything she can. Her life or lack of life, her health issues of others, other experiences from other people. She'll make stuff up. I mean, anything and everything is content to her. And anything and everything can be exploited and monetized for money.
That and not making me go back there.
This is the kind of person who will use anyone like puppets in order to get what she wants, regardless of their feelings. Even till this day, she uses her family and past lovers as talking points in a video for self-gain and views. But if you thought that was bad, ladies and gentlemen, wait until you hear it.
Yeah, before we get started with this portion, like I've been around a while, and if you go back through Chantal's past content, she has a habit of bringing up stories from her very distant past. Very distant. We're talking at least 20 years ago. She'll talk about people that she used to work with in a very vicious way. People that I'm sure in present day, they don't give her a single thought. And she'll talk about them and paint them in a very vicious light and say vicious things about them, almost like she's holding on to some sort of grudge with those people, trying to get back at them for whatever wrong she feels they did to her. I do remember her talking about a woman who worked in the same building as she did. Like, I believe she worked at a call center, and she came to work one day dressed very inappropriately in a thong and a short skirt. And the supervisor or the manager saw her dressed inappropriately and told her that she needed to go home because she was dressed inappropriately for work. And Chantal just took offense to that this is a professional workplace, and this professional woman told her, you can't dress like this when you come in. You need to go home and change your clothes. And Chantal later on turned that into content for YouTube and was complaining about this woman, when really, in reality, all this woman was doing her job and just trying to keep a professional workplace.
The one thing Foodie Beauty is good at is oversharing, and I'm not talking about the food on her plate, I'm talking about her personal life. While many creators often exaggerate characters to capitalize on shock value, it seems clear that in Chantal's case, this behavior genuinely reflects her lifestyle. As we previously discussed her supposed threesome, numerous other troubling stories have since emerged. As I mentioned earlier, where she dipped her fingers into the melting pot of prostitution, where she traded foreplay in exchange for some whoppers.
I got desperate and called one of my lovers. This is like low-key prostitution, but I offered him foreplay if he would come over and bring me a couple of Whoppers. I think it was Whopper Wednesday.
Oh, I guess you could say she had meat hand in hand. But this further reveals the true personality of Foodie Beauty, highlighting her desperation and willingness to go to any lengths to satisfy her cravings for food. But of course, gentlemen, the stories only got worse from there. Stories like her having sex with a homeless man on a couple of rocks by a lake.
I see this guy. He wasn't too scruffy looking, but he was kind of scruffy, you know. He was carrying like a shopping bag, and it had like DVDs in it, probably to pawn them. And we did it on the rock near the harbor. I know what you're thinking. What did he smell like? That's what I would wonder. he didn't smell too homeless. Like, you know, it smelled a little bit like malt vinegar, but
Now, why on earth would you do that? Because I'm horny is not a good enough reason. Do you not have any moral compass
you know what, Curtis?
whatsoever?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't have any moral compass. And from everything I've seen, from everything I have witnessed that she's done on YouTube, from everything I've read, this food issue that she has, this started well before YouTube. It's just that she wandered onto YouTube and she found a forum where she could give her food addiction a job and put it to work and make money with it. And so she has. Like, she hopped on board the mukbang train and she's been there ever since. And she thought she was incredibly clever to have this food issue and find a way and an audience to keep it going, to expand on it, to attract people who would fund and enable all of it. Like, she created this whole multi-layered system of, I love food, I'm obsessed with food, so let me just create this multi-layered system, this machine, if you will, to keep that problem afloat, to expand on it, to make it profitable and make it work for me, to where not only can I indulge in it, it'll pay my bills, it'll pay my rent. Her number one addiction, believe it or not, is not food. I think the top two addictions that Chantal has is food and attention. She's got a real big problem with attention. She needs attention all the time. You can't give her enough. She wants to be the center of attention all the time. But she does not want to get attention doing positive things, truly positive things. She likes negative attention the most. She wants to get that negative attention by doing or saying something shocking or dramatic. So it's all about the negative attention. If you try to give her positive attention, for some reason she does not like it. The abnormal is her normal, where most of us would not want or invite negative attention. She feeds off of it, literally, just like she feeds off of food. Like, you can't give her enough of either one. So wanting the negative attention, and she's like, I can get attention from people. I can get that negative attention, and I can indulge in my food habit and make money. For her, it's a win-win-win-win-win all the way around.
If anything, ladies and gentlemen, I think this further underlines the lack of respect that she has for herself. And you will see that more and more throughout this video. She also admitted to flashing her obese breasts to an old man in public while she was underage. And I suppose...
Foodie, why would you do that? What's wrong with you? Are you serious?
the reasoning is quite obvious at this point, I would say. She did it for a candy bar.
What do you want me to do for a Klondike bar? Name it. I want you to go to the man at the end of the road, and I want you to...
So let's recap. Let's stop for a second. I got to take all this in. Wait a minute. So her food problem was so bad, even back then, that she offered up intimate services to somebody for a Whopper, and then she flashed an older man as a minor for a candy bar. Foodie, what is wrong with you? You should be locked up.
Lift your shirt up and flash him and shove your tits in his face. So, of course, I did it.
This further demonstrates her lack of dignity. And as we've learned together up until this point, Chantal Marie is somewhat of a wild...
Okay, I'm stopping it there on purpose. Thank you for showing this, Curtis. All right, Beezers. Those of you that are Beezers, those of you that wonder, why do the reaction channels talk about Chantal? Why do we focus on her? Because there's lots of other YouTubers that do mukbangs. Why don't we cover them? And Chantal likes to frame the story of, we pick on her because of her weight. Look, her weight is her issue. We talk about Chantal because she's a liar, because she's not a good person, she's problematic. What you're seeing right here, right now, this is a shot of her bedroom when she lived at the villa with Pete. This is her room. This is a shot of what was beneath her desk. And what makes this so terrible? What makes it terrible is that she had 2 pets living with her. She had BBJ and Sam, 2 cats. And this filth that you're seeing in front of you, this filth was all over the house. Those poor babies could not run around. They lived in a filthy, disgusting environment. And when I say filthy and disgusting, let me give you some examples. You see that trash on the floor? That wasn't all. We're talking fruit flies in the house. We're talking mummified food in her drawers, meaning like her dresser drawers. We're talking multiple moldy pots all over the house. We're talking rotted food in the fridge that was rotting so bad, even Chantal said you can smell the rot with the door closed. We're talking bags of trash that didn't get thrown out for months, that just got put out on the balcony, that Pete, for some reason, never took out. We're talking litter boxes that didn't get changed for months. And little BBJ and Sam couldn't use the litter box. And Pete was complaining, oh, it's too heavy. He couldn't think his way around the problem. That place was nasty. Upstairs, downstairs, it was nasty. Trash everywhere. And the cats lived in that filth. It was disgusting. What you're seeing right now is just a snapshot of how bad it was, how bad Chantal let it get. And there was no reason for that, because back in the day, she was making really good money. She could have hired a maid to come in once or twice a week and keep it under control. And she and Pete actually had a washer and dryer in the hallway portion of the upstairs. There wasn't a single reason why Chantal should have had dirty clothes at all, because the machines were literally right there. But there were dirty clothes everywhere. There was trash everywhere. She was making good money. She could have hired a maid, but she deliberately let things get bad. And we all remember the Box Mountains. For those that don't know what that is, she would go on Amazon and do impulse shopping. So much so that she would have boxes stacked like mountains from floor to ceiling in different areas of her house. It was crazy. And she paid somebody $500 once to just break down all the boxes, when Pete could have done it for free, or she could have done it for free. Yeah, it was bad.
Wild animal. Someone who constantly lives in their root chakra, living through her natural animalistic instincts. But of course, this behavior plays into a reoccurring pattern. She frequently starts diets only to abandon them, manipulating her audience into feeling sorry for her, and then reverting to her old habits shortly after. This toxic.
Yeah, like I have a theory about that, and I've talked about that theory. I think that Chantal does different kinds of content, different subjects on purpose, trying to put herself in different algorithms of YouTube, attracting people from different areas of YouTube, although nobody really should be watching her content. It's not good for them. It's not good for her. But sometimes she'll do the weight loss stuff and try to get the weight loss crowd. Then she'll talk about BED and try to bring in that crowd. Then she'll talk about food addiction and bring in that crowd. She'll talk about DVNSA and bring in that crowd. She'll talk about different party favors, bring in that crowd, always reaching into different algorithms, as well as going on TikTok and trying to find anything that has gone viral. And lately, she's looking towards other YouTubers and the videos that they're doing to come up with ideas for the mukbangs that she's doing. Namely, Hungry Fat Chick, Candy. Candy did a Wendy's mukbang. Hours later, Chantal did one. So she's not thinking of new ideas. She's not looking at, how can I make my channel better? How can I entertain people better? It's not about that. It's about, what can I do to make money, and make it now and make it fast? There's too much preoccupation with the money, way too much.
Toxic cycle is something we'll delve into later on in the video, as it's quite messy. But speaking of toxic cycles, her love life with strange men is another area fraught with problems. Now, Pete is believed to be the first serious relationship in Chantel's life, who in 2018 became a usual face on the Foodie Beauty channel. At this time, they had already having common interests.
Exclusive Christmas offer, $10.
Yeah, let's go back through the history of her and Pete's. For those that are not informed, let me just bring you up to speed. She and Pete became acquainted in high school. And she started off making fun of Pete in front of her friends. She liked him, but she made fun of him. Pete was, very introverted and all that, but they came to know each other back in high school. That's how far back they go. And then later on, they became involved. They were together for 5 years. I believe they were engaged. Chantal cheated on Pete repeatedly. And he always forgave her. But one of the people that she cheated on Pete with was BB. And she left Pete for BB to go be with BB. While she was with BB, she was still getting money from Pete. There was also talk that during her time with Pete, she basically put him in financial ruin. He was devastated. But she left Pete for BB. She did not leave in a very nice way. She just up and left. They had a cat together, Casey. And then while Chantal was gone away from Pete, she changed the cat's name from Casey to BBJ. That's how the name BBJ came to be, because BBJ was basically close to BB. So she was with BB. Everything fell apart. Chantal had a bankruptcy on her record, which meant that it was going to be harder for her to get a place to live. So she went back to Pete's and wanted to get a place with him. He wanted to find a place within his budget, but Chantal wasn't happy with any of the places he was picking out. So since she was making money on YouTube, the agreement was, if you put your name on the lease, I'll pay all the bills. Pete agreed to that. He put his name on the lease because he had the good credit and the good job, and she could not get the place, and they were together. But Pete harbored, I feel, a lot of anger inside over her cheating and being with BB. And he would often reflect that in the way he treated BBJ. And even though the cat had nothing to do with what happened, and it wasn't her fault, he's always been too afraid to show his anger or express his anger to Chantal. So he took out anger on little BBJ, like just a lot of resentment, when really he should have gone to Chantal and aired his grievances, because that poor cat didn't do anything. But yeah, they go back a ways. They go back over 17 years. And if there was anybody, she's always been looking for somebody who's loving and loyal. She had it with Pete. I mean, he's loyal to a fault. He's given her more loyalty than she deserves. He could air out all of her dirty laundry right now, and he still won't. Because as sad as it sounds, I think he's still waiting for her to come home and be with him again. I mean, still holding on to that hope, and he doesn't want to destroy it. Giving his loyalty to someone who has loyalty to no one but herself.
Off. I'm gonna keep that. There's a whole bunch of coffee Rolos. There's stuff in that.
So for those who are wondering what is going on here, Chantal did a video where she was dumpster diving. She did a few dumpster dive videos, believe it or not.
Bag.
Wow, nothing quite like ravaging through dumpsters on a Friday night. But of course, Chantal will be happy with whatever she can get her hands on. Pete and Chantal initially crossed paths at school. Then they both were employed. The relationship eventually evolved to a romantic one, lasting substantial 6 years, but unfortunately came to an abrupt end.
Pete would tell me, even if you don't love me anymore, I don't know, maybe he sensed it was coming, but he said, even if you don't love me anymore and you wanted to see someone else, I would be totally cool with that. I would be cool with you having different lovers to make you happy. It was very long.
That's so sad. It's so sad that Pete is so thirsty for love. He's so desperate to hang on to Chantal that he's willing to say, look, I don't care if you go sleep with other people, just don't leave me. That makes me so sad. Oh, I don't like Pete, okay? I don't like him. He's a jerk for the way he treated BBJ. Some of the things that he did to BBJ, I just want to talk to him in Minecraft, okay? Take a walk with him in Minecraft. Just a walk. But the human in me, the humanity in me listening to this, just, oh God. Loving somebody so desperately that you're willing to let them step out on you. It's so sad to me. It's so sad.
Of me to have started talking with Baby before breaking up with him.
She endured for a couple of years. However, BB rarely made an appearance on camera, often only heard in the distant background of her live streams. Despite this discreet presence, the relationship ultimately ended.
Yeah, Chantal seems to go through everybody talks about the Chantal cycle with her eating and with her channel, but there's another cycle as well. Let's talk about the Chantal man cycle, because that's a thing as well. And anybody who's been watching Chantal for years, you might have already picked up on the cycle. So what is the Chantal man cycle? Let's see, phase 1. She's looking around for a man and she finds a man that she gets really, really enamored with. She just puts her sights on him. Phase 1. Phase 1 is, I just have to get into his house. I have to get close to him. So she locks her sights on that man and she puts her sights on him. And phase 1 is, I'm going to research this man and I'm going to get with this man and I'm going to become a part of his life. So the research gets started where she starts finding out stuff about him, what he likes, what he doesn't like, his hates, what are his interests, what are his hobbies. And she starts to warp herself and her personality to fit whatever she thinks she can fit into being most like him, to be accepted by him. So phase 1 is I'm going to get into his house. And if he accepts her, then it's on to phase 2. Phase 2 is she's already in the house. And she keeps leaving her stuff there. Because in Chantal's mind, if she leaves her stuff at a man's house and she starts doing things for him and spending money on him, he will become more hers. And she can take more ownership of that person. Phase 2 is I call it the new car smell infatuation stage. Everything is still really brand new and she's still riding on that high of a new relationship. So that's phase 2. Phase 3 is things have progressed to a point where they've gone on a little while and the new car smell has worn off and she starts to get bored with that man. And phase 3 is the part where she starts rolling her eyes and acting uncomfortable when he comes in the room and maybe putting him down or expressing irritation. That's phase 3. Phase 4 is when there's no more new car smell and she's bored and she's irritated and she's looking for the next new piece of bubblegum. But by phase 4, she's looked at that person and figured out there's nothing more for me to take from that person and there's nothing more that they can give me. I'm going to let go now. So that is the Chantal man cycle. Like, I'm going to meet you and I'm doing whatever I can to get accepted by you. And then I'm going to establish ownership over you if I can and use you. Then I'm going to get irritated with you and then I'm going to leave. That is the Chantal man cycle.
Due to BB's aspiration to start a family and his discomfort with Chantal's public persona as an influencer.
So, Baby and I decided to break up. I think a lot of you could see our dynamic, and it's
Okay,
changed a lot.
Okay, shut up, Chantal. For anyone who doesn't know, why did they break up? Well, I feel like let's talk about BB for a second. BB was a good man, and he really, really tried. Chantal, you lost a good one. You gave up a good one just because you did not want to take care of yourself. BB did all he could do. He really, really tried. Chantal was going nuts with the food during this time period, to the point where she ate so much cheese, it landed her in the hospital. She had to go to the ER because she ate too much cheese. Also, there were things going on, I believe, with her ovaries. I'm so sorry. I don't have all the details that I can report to you, but she had something serious internally going on. And rather than take the proper steps to take care of herself, she tried to self-heal herself. That didn't work, which led to a complete hysterectomy. And remember, BB, he wanted kids. So after Chantal had her hysterectomy, that would not be possible with her. Chantal was full-blown in her food addiction. And then BB found pizza boxes in a closet. So once he found out there was this thing going on, he doesn't have full knowledge about how to handle that. So he urged her to get healthy, eat healthy. She got a gym membership. Well, she didn't stick with that. So here is this hardworking, decent man with a woman who's not willing to take care of herself. She's got a food issue that she's also not taking care of, doesn't want to go to the gym and really work on her health. And on top of that, she cheated. She cheated on BB. So with all things considered, the relationship ended. So BB was not the bad guy. BB was just simply looking at the situation and saying, this is unsavable. I don't want to try, and you got to go. And a lot of time has passed since then. I honestly think that BB, sir, you were smart and you dodged one heck of a big bullet, sir. Good on you. Because good people don't need to be around people like her. A lot of people in her chat like to say, oh, you can do better, Chantal, and you deserve better. I say, why? Why does she deserve better? If she's not willing to be better and be a good person, why does she need to be around good people? See, wicked, evil people like her, they tend to ruin good people, cause a lot of pain and suffering that don't need to be there. If she's wicked and evil and uncaring and self-absorbed and selfish and narcissistic, let her be with her own kind. Let her be with those who are like-minded and like-mannered. Keep her away from good people. This is how good people get ruined. They come across a bad person like her, and they suffer some kind of emotional or mental damage, and then it takes them years to recover. Nah, she doesn't deserve better. She had better. Pete was a good man. He loved Chantal. He was loyal to her. Look what she did to Pete. Look how she treated Pete. Look how she still treats him. What was the last thing she did to Pete? She left him with a $5,000 repair bill from the villa because his name was on the lease and not hers, so he was on the hook. He's still dealing with that. And BB cheated on him. Cheated on Pete's too. She had two good men that loved her. And all she had to do was just take care of herself and love them back. But she's far too selfish and evil for that. So no, she doesn't deserve a good partner if she doesn't know how to be good herself. Let her deal with her own karma.
Over the years.
However, this relationship was nothing compared to the drama that the next man brought to the table. Meet Nada.
You know what, though, Curtis? Like attracts like. Like attracts like. Water always finds its own level. If you're a scumbag, yes, you're going to attract other scumbags. Den of thieves they are. She attracted exactly what she was. He's a scumbag. She's a scumbag too. She's a predator. Yeah, I said it. She's a predator. Chantal preys upon people, preys upon men, looks for men that are financially hurting, and then baits the golden hook with the money to seduce them, to pull them close to her so she can suck them dry. Natter's not a good person. She's not a good person, though. So she attracted that which was most like her. And to be honest, I think there might have been a bit of a life lesson with Natter. You know, that might have been life trying to make her look in the mirror. Because everything about Natter that she allegedly didn't like was everything inside of her. She was basically dealing with a male version of herself. She doesn't like herself, but she was dealing with a male version of herself.
On Tinder. From the very beginning, Chantal referred to him as the Egyptian man. And this Egyptian man from the very beginning displayed his true nature. But despite the obvious red flag, Chantal desperate for attention.
Love you. That's not the tea. The tea is hot. We need to let the tea cool off.
You know, Chantal, I can't believe that you're in your 30s. You're not a child. And you say, oh, that Natter was into BBWs, right? The same way that you say that Salah loves you as you are. And yet, where is the reason and the sense and sensibility in it all that if these men allegedly love you, why do they make you pay? Why do they make you pay? If you love someone, you love them for free. You don't make them pay for your companionship. Why did these men make you pay? Why are you paying their bills? Why are you paying their rent? Why are you buying the groceries? I have friends. I don't pay my friends to be my friends. And I've had relationships, and I never paid the men to be in relationships with me. If these men adore you, why do you have to pay a cover charge to be close to them? Paying a cover charge means they don't like you. They're not in love with you.
Man, but he's very fucking pushy, like bossy. Like tells me what to do all the time.
But she continued to ignore his red flags over and over again.
You know why? Here's my opinion. I think from the jump, Natter never misrepresented himself. He never put on a false face. He was who he was from the jump. It was Chantal who misrepresented herself. She put on a false face of who she was and what she was about to get in his favor. And she felt that, you know, she could toss out the hook, he bites, she starts to slowly reel him in. And then when she got him where she wants him, she could reveal her real face. You know, just coming off like the generous, caring female friend with all the money, get him seduced with the money, and he would accept her. And then the ultimate reward would be him being in a relationship with her. Oh, I love her so much. She's doing all these things. I just want to marry her. That's what she thought would happen, and it never did. She thought that money could be the ultimate, absolute seducer. And yet, money does not buy happiness, and it doesn't buy real love. But she thought she could get away with that, and that's never happened. And she's so stupid. Even after Natter, she repeated the same mistake with Salah. That she could be as awful as she wants to be, but the money is going to just, you know, like write everything else out. No, that's not how it works.
Arab men can have a temper and tendency to be controlling. Yeah, I know, but they're sexy.
God.
because he's way too controlling. Like, he's so controlling and just weird.
But it wasn't unusual for her to become addicted to things that were ultimately harmful to her. After initial online interactions, she eventually would meet up with him in person. Despite disregarding numerous red flags, the reality was about to catch up to her.
I did go over to the Egyptian guy's house. So this guy is like, yeah, I ended up tiptoeing out of there when he fell asleep. But I did, like, he busted out like a bunch of
You know, when I saw this live stream, I was looking at her like, how can you talk like this in front of Pete? I understand that they're friends now, but they had a serious relationship, and she knows that Pete, to a certain degree, loves her. How can you talk about this dude in front of the dude that you were with before him? That he's still got feelings. You got to know that hurts. She's just so far removed from decency.
I know. I think I did maybe like 4 or 5 lines. He's kind of really rough. Like, he was rough at one point.
Oh, really? Did we, Chantel? Of cocaine? Apparently. Part of me wishes she would have said ketamine, with it being a horse tranquilizer and all. Would have been perfect for a beast her size. But despite her...
Yeah, that's because Chantal, like, she's a defiant person. During this whole thing with Natter, the fantasy was, I'm a bad girl and he's a bad boy and we're rebels without a cause and it's us against the world and, like, screw everybody else. Like, that was the deal. That was the feeling. That was the story that she'd put in front of all of us. Like, we're bad people, but we've come together when we're so much in love and he loves me so much. And no, he never loved you. He loved your money.
Grew increasingly frustrated with how quickly she disregarded their concerns. Acting and flaunting about as if she was under complete self-control would be a luxury at this point.
I didn't do anything wrong. Coke isn't a drug. Yeah, it is. It is.
For those that weren't
know if it's
around
wrong. I
during
mean,
this time period, yes, Chantal got heavily into the Coca-Cola. Heavily. That was how... Feel bad for the reactors. Because for a whole freaking year, dude, like a whole year, she was constant live streaming. And when I say constant, I am not kidding. We're talking between 8 to 12 hours a day, every day. Waking up in the morning, and there's already 2 live streams that she's done. Got to deal with them. As soon as you're done with those 2, here comes 2 more. And it would literally be like that all day. And that's not counting the dirty deleted streams that she got rid of, because she would want to go off about Natter and then get rid of the evidence so she didn't get in trouble with YouTube. Got to find out where those are. So she and Natter were doing the Coca-Cola, which gave them plenty of energy for their gas tank. Meanwhile, all of us exhausted reactors were like, man, I need to sleep. I need to sleep. Somebody help. She wouldn't get off camera. But she was doing massive amounts of Coca-Cola and God knows what else, but mainly a lot of Coca-Cola. And it was during this time period, because of the Coca-Cola, she did lose some weight. She honestly did. You could see it in her face. You could see more of the cheekbones, and the ears weren't pressed up against the head. So she did lose some weight. It's a very unhealthy, dangerous way to lose weight, but she did. But, doing the Coca-Cola constantly, like back to back to back to back to back to back live streams. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts.
I don't think it's obviously not healthy, but how bad are some of the prescription drugs people take?
Wow, isn't that a shocker? Chantal showing her arrogant side once again. But you know what? I can't lie to myself. As they say, a line a day keeps the doctor away. Oh, veterinarian in her case. Mind, as this will be important later. But within a few days after their first encounter, Chantal began featuring her new creature on her channel, and even took on the role of being financially responsible for him. It was obvious to her audience that he was just in it for the money, but despite her entire audience warning her, she still continued to ignore their concerns.
Yeah, I remember that she was actually bragging about being his sugar dad, or sorry. I remember her bragging about being his sugar mama. She goes, yeah, I'm a sugar mama. So what? Hey, it's your money, Chantal. Do what you want. But Natter never misrepresented himself. He always said, look, you want me, you got to pay. He never lied to her that way. She was just desperate to be near him. So she paid for everything. But at the same time, she was tallying up in her mind every single thing she did so that they got into a fight. She was going to try to use that as leverage to have power over him. For an entire year, those two did like a tug of war of back and forth of who has power over who. And in the end, Chantal did not win.
And did what any person with an IQ of a brick wall does best. Offered him a platform on YouTube to establish his own revenue stream, where he would display his unique chefing skills, which, to be honest with you, this looks like something I once rested.
I'm going to give my thoughts whole Nader El Shami channel. Knowing what we know now. In the beginning, it seemed like, yes, he had an interest in cooking. In my opinion, I don't think he ever had an interest in cooking. He didn't have a passion for cooking. The cooking was just a cover. It was a cover for what the channel was really about. What the channel was really about was he could be on a public platform, be in front of lots and lots of women, and have the ability to get super chats and memberships from those women on YouTube, but also open up the door to talking to and scamming women off of YouTube, because that happened too. He doesn't have a real interest in cooking, but he has to act as if he has an interest in cooking just to keep up appearances with YouTube. It's been years already. The quality of his cooking lives and videos has not improved. The quality of the ingredients has not improved. There are no good camera angles. Nothing is improved. It doesn't show off the ingredients and the amounts. Everything is done far away. If you had a passion for cooking and you wanted to do cooking videos or lives, wouldn't the food be the star? Yes, it would. In the beginning of your channel, yeah, you might be able to get away with maybe things looking a little bit rough, but the focus has never been about the food. The focus, in my opinion, is about getting in front of people and talking to women and getting money from women in that way.
In the belly of the beast. And shortly after this, ladies and gentlemen, is when tragedy struck.
Like, you don't not call me all night. What the hell? How can that even happen? You're not even thinking about me? No. It doesn't fly with me.
As Nader was no longer responding, it caused her to spiral out of control and even go as driving to his house in rage.
I don't think anyone was home. I don't know. Like, the room with somebody, it's gonna be dark. I didn't hear any noise. His kitchen light was on, the door was locked.
I'm just losing my mind. Like, I don't feel like I deserve that. After everything I've like been through with this person in the past weeks, I don't feel like I deserve that, you know? Someone is running away and it's my fault, I'm overreacting. Like, this is just like a sign, a bad sign for me that this is toxic already.
What you are witnessing, ladies and gentlemen, is Chantel running back to her audience after she ignorantly disregarded their concerns, questioning herself if her audience was right all along. However,
one thing that should be noted, Curtis, this person, this content creator, Foodie Beauty, she's got patterns, okay? And one of her patterns is that she loves the negative attention. She wants to put herself in the eye of the storm with negative attention. And one of the things that she loves to do is she likes to have people watch her out of concern. She likes to stress people out and make people worry for her. She tries to use that as a selling point to get people to watch her videos. Like, she'll talk about all of her health problems, like her high blood pressure, her high blood sugar. She shows her blood sugar readings on camera, which are dangerously high to diabetic coma level. During this time period that you're showing right now, sir, she would talk about DV, talking about Natter, saying that he was doing DV to her. But in my opinion, nothing of that sort happened. There's a lot of things that don't add up. The math ain't mathin'. She lied about it to get attention, to get sympathy, to make money. Yes, I know it is horrible. You're right. But that's how low down she is. But she used stress and worry and concern to get people tuned in. She even used her own pets that way. Her own pets. She had 2 cats, BBJ and Sam. And those of us that tuned into her lives, we saw the conditions those cats lived in. They lived in absolute filth. Filth. She would go over to Natter's place and disappear for a week or 2 weeks, leaving the cats with Pete's. And Pete's, he's not really up on the pet care, you see. The place was filthy, disgusting. The cats would often not have any food, to the point where Sam would go after the older female cat, BBJ, for the little bit of food that was there. And she had enough money to buy food. She just didn't buy it. It would have been easy that even if she wasn't there, she could have had food delivered. Didn't do that. Wanted to save the money for herself. Wasn't up on the pet care. She let her female cat, BBJ, her nails grow into her foot pads twice. Knew about her kidney issues, did not fix those either. Knew about her bad teeth, did not fix those either. I mean, it was bad. People were aware of all this stuff going on, but there was nothing that anybody could do. But out of concern, they would tune in to make sure the cats were okay. And her being sadistic and evil, she let these issues go on without being fixed for the purpose of extra views and extra viewers. Yeah, that's how much of a monster she is. That's how diabolical this woman is.
He eventually responded to her, and she reverted back to her old desperate self. This pattern repeated itself multiple times, with the couple up 3 times within just a month of knowing each other. At times, she would even go live and vent about him, highlighting the mistreatment she claimed to endure. So what did Chantel do to fix this situation? Well, she'd go over his house for a talk, and ended off the night by doing some really hard drugs.
So it was like 2 nights. Like,
Okay,
not
one
every-
moment, please. Okay, sorry about that. I just needed a coffee refill. Let's keep going.
Every single night that I was with him, we did hard stuff. It was like the one night, and then like another night was like the bad night where we just did like everything. It's not funny, but it just made me like I was sick like for like 2 days, like in bed.
Now remember early on when she completely disregarded her
Sorry to interrupt you, Curtis. Something of note, something that should be remembered, or for those that do not know, who weren't around at that time, because I am aware that some people, they jump into the foodieverse later than others. For those who are not aware, there was a incident where Chantal did way too much. Natter does the party favors as well, but Chantal is the kind of person that when she does something, she goes in excess always. Like anything she likes, she ends up getting obsessed over, addicted to, and she goes way too far. So there was an incident where Chantal did way too much, to the point where Natter was concerned that she might OD. And I guess she got really close to such an incident. And Natter said, no more. She got upset because Natter was cutting her off because she was going too far and she was doing too much. And yeah, that was a concern for her audience also. They were worried about her being around Natter because he wasn't a good influence. They were worried about her doing the party favors and what that might lead to. But there was nothing they could do. You know, like she's a person and she is in control of her own life, can make her own choices. And she was making really bad choices, and that worried the crap out of her audience, but she didn't care because she was getting all that negative attention.
audience's concerns about her hilarious encounters with drugs. Well, it wasn't long after until reality started to settle in for Chantel.
I'm pretty sure that I'm addicted to cocaine.
Shortly after,
Yeah, that little clip that you just saw, she did an entire stream where she confessed to being addicted to, and she confessed that she spent over $4,000 on Coca-Cola. This isn't counting the other stuff she did with Natter, like $300. There was one incident where she said that she bought $300 in, I have to say it this way, button pizza mushrooms, the fungi that makes you see all of the pretty colors. Yeah, that. So she was getting Coca-Cola and the button mushrooms from Natter and whatever else he was selling her, because not only was she paying the rent, paying the phone bill, and she deliberately paid the phone bill just so she could have a way to talk to him and he couldn't he couldn't block her out, paying the phone, paying the rent, buying the groceries, going to Farm Boy, going to Adonis, buying the expensive produce and meats that he used in his cooking videos. She made a channel for him. She filmed the videos. She did the thumbnails. All of this she chose to do just so she could have more and more control over Natter and more of an influence over Natter. Like really integrating herself into his life as much as possible so that he could not get rid of her and she could always be around. Like anything she could pay for, anything she could do, anything she could control, she was right there. She did not want him having even a sliver of independence away from her. And to be fair, Natter could have cut this off anytime he wanted. He could have looked at her and how she was and said, money or not, I'm out. But he developed a greed for the money. He wanted as much as possible. So he probably figured in his mind, I could just keep her at arm's reach and get what I want from her. But with someone like Chantal, that comes at a price. Like you got to deal with all her crazy, and her crazy's only going to get worse. And it did get worse because it just got to ridiculous levels of who's controlling who and who's got the most power over who at any given moment. And it just became this big dramatic tug of war between two people. And it just got nuts. It got completely nuts.
after this, Chantel had claimed to be rehabilitated and was doing
No,
better than ever, apparently. That was, of course, until she had discovered, and that new woman was named Dee Dee, who was once a viewer of Chantel's daily shit shows. And after she'd learned this new information, she warned Dee Dee through a live stream that Nader is not the man she thinks he is.
Yeah, that's really funny that she warned Dee Dee about Natter. But the warning really wasn't a warning. Chantal isn't concerned about anybody but herself, and she's always been about self-gratification and what's good for her and what she wants. It's not about being concerned for another human being and what they might have to endure with somebody. It's about you are an obstacle and you are a barrier and you're in my way from somebody that I want to be with. So I'm going to come across as being concerned for your welfare when I'm really not. What I'm really trying to do is be sneaky and shady and get you out of the way so that I can have access to them. Because she would go back and forth with Dee Dee. One minute, I'm concerned for you. He is a horrible person. He's hurtful. The next minute, putting down Dee Dee and wishing harm upon her. Even going so far as after it was revealed, courtesy of another channel called Sam's Bar Lounge, a lot of videos were posted there of alleged abuse, things that were very disturbing. Chantal actually showed one of those videos on her channel and was almost gloating about it, gloating about the hurt of another person. And that's one of the many red flags that I've seen with Chantal, claiming deviant SA. Like, if you've been through it, why would you wish that harm upon another person, even somebody you don't like, even somebody who's your enemy? Why would you wish that upon them, knowing how bad it is? You really wouldn't. So her going back and forth with Dee Dee in an effort to get Dee Dee to go away so that she had full access to Natter.
However, Chantel was missing something. Her self-pride was one thing, but her breathing machine came at a close second. So she traveled to his house in an attempt to retrieve, say, she needed it as badly as...
Important note, actually 2 important notes. Let's talk about that CPAP machine. Chantal had 2, okay? Not just 1, 2. She had 2 CPAP machines. So even if one were at Natter's place, she still had another one. If she needed a CPAP machine, she had a spare. So why not use the spare? That whole drama that night was not about, I absolutely need the CPAP machine to breathe. Without it, I might have a medical event. No, it was about control. It was about, you're with this person, you're having a good time, and since I'm not having a good time with you, since you're not with me, I'm going to just disrupt everything and cause all this drama to ensure you're not having a good time with her. I'm going to be a destructive force in your life to where I'm going to ruin your good time. Another note, there were many occasions where Chantal would not use her CPAP with Natter. In the very beginning of their relationship, she was embarrassed about the CPAP machine and using it. So she would often go over there and be without it. She would sleep without it. I don't know how she did that, but she did. So in the beginning, it wasn't an important issue. And then it became one when she could use that as a way to be disruptive and to try to gain power, like cause problems over that. So 2 CPAP machines, y'all, not 1, 2. There was no real emergency to have the CPAP. She just wanted a way and a reason to go over there and cause a bunch of drama and cause drama for him. And the police were called and all this stuff happened. What she really wanted to do was to walk in the house to see if Dee Dee was there. And Natter was smart enough not to let her in the house because he knew if when she's in the house, it's going to be hard to get her out. What he should have done when she said, I want my CPAP machine, is say, okay, I'll go get it. Shut the door, go get her CPAP machine and give it to her at the door. But he didn't. They were both playing games that night. It was stupid. It was absolutely stupid. There were many occasions where Chantal said, I want my stuff. And yet when he said, come get your stuff, she didn't want the stuff. She just wanted a way to have access to him. So they were both playing games during that time. Stupid games.
She needed to breathe.
I need my machine.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. What a piece of shit.
It was a brilliant time in the...
And I also want to point out, you saw how she was just acting? Keep in mind, this was the man that she claimed abused her, screaming and cursing in the face of your abuser. No real victim of anything would do that. If you're a victim of something and somebody has hurt you, you want to stay as far away from them as possible. But there she is, completely unafraid of him. It's another red flag for me that she's a fake victim.
Fraudyverse, as both were live streaming simultaneously and gave viewers the opportunity to watch the 2 different perspectives. But it turned out Nader was withholding the breathing machine from Shannon and burning. And of course, Chantal was a
Piece of shit.
Shortly after this, a concerned viewer called Ace and was able to retrieve her breathing machine, but not in one piece. Shortly after this, she went home and devoured herself on live stream and complained about Nad.
Okay, I know this is kind of gross. Sorry, y'all. Can we talk about this for a minute? Y'all see that box? You know what that is? I know it looks messy. I get it. Do you know what that is? That's Lakmas. She talked about the Lakma fairy, aka one of her feeders. A feeder sent her all those Lakmas. Chantal's had many feeders in her back pocket over the years. That was one of them. That's what they did. Sent her a whole bunch of lakmas to eat on camera. And she would do it on YouTube because she was paid to do it.
Leaving her, and that she apparently gives awesome head. However, their saga didn't end there. They continued to air out their grievances back and forth on live stream, and at one point, Nada even showed Chantel's dirty underwear for the world to see. Well, you know, because I've always wanted to see Foodie Booty's underwear. Yum yum. Things escalated further when Nada threatened to file a restraining order against her, and in response, Chantel rushed to the police station to detail the mistreatment she had endured.
Yeah, let's talk about that for just a second. The entire time she was with Natter, it was a game, it was a power, a tug of war of power. Who had the most power? Who had the most influence? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Chantal using the topics of SA and DV as a sort of game. I'm playing a game with you, Natter, and I'm going to accuse you of these awful things as a way to win the game. It was never about her seeking justice for anything that was done to her. It was about, I am going to win the prize, and if I can't win the prize, which is you claiming me, I'm going to win the game, and I'm going to punish you. I'm going to use these topics and your criminal past to punish you if you don't give me what I want. Try to force him into a relationship with her. Try to coerce him into a relationship. Anybody remember her buying her own engagement ring and trying to get Natter to say that she was his girlfriend, kind of like push him into that? That's how desperate this woman is. Because she was so desperate to claim Natter, to have Natter claim her, and to say it publicly just so she could say, where's your boyfriend? You know, she looks at having a relationship as kind of a status symbol, that makes her better than any other woman out there. Consider the source, though. Like, what exactly is she claiming? Is it worth anything? No. But to her, it was worth something, because in her mind, I guess, the more men that are chasing her, the more men that are involved with her, the more feminine she is, the more attractive she is, the more worth and value she has, and kind of backwards. But knowing that he had a criminal past, threatening to go to the cops, threatening to make issue, it was a game to her. Chantal, there are lots of people that actually, for real, go through SA and DV. And that whole, I just watched Mr. Snowflake's documentary, remembering some of the things that I'd forgotten. And your attitude that day, going to the cops, being all sing-songy with a smirk on your face. What actual victim acts that way? Nobody. Nobody except you, because you're fake. It was a game to you. And I remember that for months, Dee Dee had been at Natter's house, and you were foaming at the mouth to get her to go home. You were desperate to find a way to get her to go home. Natter, being an idiot, he posted online that he was going to the cops to get a restraining order on you. And you didn't like the possibility of losing the game. All the things you gave him, all the money you gave him, you didn't want to look like a fool of him getting those things from you and then cutting off contact and you not getting a return on your investment. To you, that would be losing the game. So you're wanting to make a power play. You go into the cops with a freaking power play. I'm going to show my power. I'm going to pull out the most powerful cards in my deck, and I'm going to use them right now. I know you have a criminal past. You got a record, and I'm going to pull that card, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it against you. So he was about to do the restraining order. I don't know what made him think it was a good idea to post about that online. Why not just do it, and then it's done and it's over with, if you really want to be over with. But he let you and everybody else know what he was going to do. You got word. You freaked out. And you went to the cops. And then after you got done, you had this look on your face like, what did I just do? Does this mean I get cut off from Natter forever? See, all this crazy behavior that you showed Natter, you gave him every reason in the world not to take you on. You showed every volatile, violent, unbalanced, unhinged aspect of yourself. The fact that you were so emotionally unstable, you could not be trusted. And that is one of the reasons why Dee Dee is with Natter and not you. Because he saw just how extreme you are. And he's like nope, nope, I'm out. Beezers, something else that happened. So even after she was done with Natter, she went to Kuwait to be with Salah, her supposed husband. There was a night that Chantal went into Natter's chat and she was screaming at Dee Dee, saying, you stole my man. So here's Chantal claiming that Natter abused her in different ways over many different occasions. She's with a new man. She's in a new country, new life, right? New start. And still obsessed and upset over another woman being with this man that hurt her. If she'd been a real victim, a real survivor, I would think that you see another woman with this man, you're going to go, hey, he's your problem now. I'm done. I'm out. Not going into their chat room and screaming and yelling about it. Not putting herself right there in front of that man and watching him and looking at him and obsessing over him. Like, why would you? But she did. And in my opinion, I think she has maintained contact with Natter even to this day. Perhaps buying him groceries and other things, or talking to him on the phone. Like, they've maintained communication at least. At least that. So if he was so incredibly abusive, why would she keep that going? Why not walk away? You know, like, it just points in the direction that she lied.
So Chantal, feeling desperate and lonely, she began searching for a new lover. And it wasn't long until she found said lover, meet Sal. But of course, our big girl Chantal once again went back on her words.
I have been seeing somebody, and they are...
Okay, just a little bit of a note of what I think happened. Here's my take. I think Chantal, being the get back person that she is, all the time that she spent with Natter, all the money she spent on him, she tried everything to put him under her thumb. It didn't work. So Salah, in essence, was a bit of a, I call it an ego rebound, because it wasn't a physical rebound. Her and Salah were not physically involved. He wasn't interested in her like that. What Salah was, what he's always been, is an ego rebound. Her ego got bruised with Natter, and her ego could not take the bruise. So let's do something to make that bruise sort of kind of go away. He was an ego rebound. It was an attempt to get back at Natter for not getting with her. In essence, what she was doing with Salah was deliberately putting him on YouTube, and in a way, indirectly saying to Natter, look, I gave you a channel, and I gave you money, and I gave you all these things. What I did with you, I can do with another man. I can give everything that I gave you to another man. And it's going to be a younger man and a more attractive man. It was strictly a get back move. But also there might be elements of, not only is she getting back at Natter and being defiant, but maybe in an indirect way trying to get him back by inducing a sense of panic of, oh my God, she's giving everything she gave me to another man and I might need it, so I need to grab onto her. Everybody in girl world, we are all of the same thought, that in all the time that she was talking to Salah, if Nader had made one phone call and said, I want to be with you, she would have let go of Salah in a heartbeat. Maybe she was hoping for that the entire time, and it never happened. But by then, she was so far down the rabbit hole with introducing Salah to the audience and selling him up, her ego would not let her back down. So she had to follow through with it, and so she did. But Salah was a total ego rebound, get back move to get back at Nader and to maybe get him back, because her ego never moved on from Nader. She's always wanted to win that game and win the prize. Although I think, in my opinion, it's too late. She's too far gone. Even at the state that she's in physically, health-wise, money-wise, if she lets go of Salah, like, who's going to take her up on her offer? She doesn't have the money she used to have. Her health is bad. Anybody that takes on Chantal, it would be too much. They would look at her and go, nope, the juice ain't worth the squeeze. So she's desperately trying to hang on to Salah, even though Salah wants nothing to do with her.
It's just kind of really gone.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forget what I was going to say. It was interesting because Chantal, she did a live stream where she talked about romance scammers. That there are people that do the romance scam thing, that they talk you up and lay on the sugar, and I like you so much, and then they end up milking you for money and then they disappear. I think Chantal turned the tables on Salah being a romance scammer. And how did she do that? She did it by lying about herself, about her appearance, about her weight, using all the doggone filters. She told a bunch of lies and she made a bunch of promises about, oh, you stick with me, kid, and I'll give you this and I'll do this and I've got this much money. I mean, she really laid it on thick. And she kept all that deception going. And she essentially fat-fished Salah until the very last second, when she packed up all of her stuff and she moved to Kuwait. And Salah really did not get a good look at Chantal until she came to that airport. That's why when she was walking towards him, she was hiding her face. Like, you had to know she was thinking, sucker, gotcha. Like, she really kept up the deception and the lies and the shield until she had to let it down so he could see her. But she turned the tables on the romance scamming.
Really fast.
And she wanted to make sure that Salah was not going to get away, that she put him in a position where he was in a corner and he could not get out.
We've been talking a lot, like video, pretty much all night since we've met.
But, ladies and gentlemen, Chantal's newfound relationship was moving faster than her digestive system. And it turns out, after only 2 days of talking, Salah wanted to fly Chantal to Kuwait to get married. No, any
Red flag on the field. Here's a guy in another country. You don't know him. And he wants to marry you? How could that not be the biggest red flag on the play? I don't know you and you already want to marry me? Huh? What? But Chantal, being desperate for love and attention, she's like, oh, he's so in love with me. He wants to marry me right away. Girl, what? You can't do that. You got to get to know the person that you're going to get married to. I mean, marriage is pretty freaking serious. I know. I've been married twice, Chantal. You jealous? Yeah, I've been a bride 2 times and I never paid for my husband's. I wore the ring for real. And I walked down the aisle too. Anyway, so 2 days. 2 days. Everything moving around in 2 days. Why would Salah want to marry her after only 48 hours? Probably because, knowing Chantal, she made mention of her YouTube channel and the money she was making, and he wanted to lock down the locale and start getting the milk before anybody else got to it. You know, low-hanging fruit.
sane person would simply deny this request. 2 days of knowing somebody and now wanting to get married is completely ridiculous. But not in the eyes of our big girl, of course, because she was willing to change her entire life for a man that she's only just recently met. So that was when it was clear, ladies and gentlemen, that Fraudy Beauty, he had joined a new religion for this man.
As you can see, I purchased my first hijab today.
Yeah, something of note. So before everything kicked off, and she took the Shahada, and she, in my opinion, began to cosplay as a Muslim person. And I say that because there are people that are actually Muslim. They are true to the faith. They are true to themselves. They're living in truth. This one, she's just using it as a shield to hide behind. You know, she's putting on a persona that is so far removed from who she really is. She did a live stream with Pete in the kitchen, and she mentioned wanting to wear a hijab. And she asked Pete, do I have to be Muslim to wear a hijab? And Pete said, probably. And she goes, I guess I'm Muslim. I mean, she was very nonchalant about it. You can't be nonchalant about things like that. But that's the only reason why she wanted to wear the abaya and the hijab, because she was getting bigger and she wanted to keep getting bigger and not lose any weight. She was trying to find another way to hide it. So it's never been about the faith itself or the culture or the people. It's been about, I'm getting bigger and I'm getting more uncomfortable in my own skin. But rather than recognize the problems and fix the problems, I'm just going to cover them up for as long as possible.
This is just a 2-piece set. I have decided to try to adopt.
After knowing Salah, they indulged themselves in a house march. If to say things were moving rather quickly for Chantel and Salah, but it only moved quicker from there. They invested into an apartment and officially converted herself to Islam.
Today, Chantel, my pretty wife, become officially.
You know, Chantal, if you had any respect for the Muslim people, you would just be yourself, because you're not a true Muslim. You're just not. You're a disgrace. And if you really were interested in changing your life around and being a good person and being modest, you could have done that back in Canada. I mean, just start there. Do things to improve yourself. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your physical health. Gone to doctors, gone to inpatient, talk to counselors, go to therapy. You know, like really do the work on the inside that needs to get done. You didn't have to move all the way to Kuwait to be a good person. You could have done that right where you lived. But I guess that's the thing, isn't it? You really are not interested in being a good person. You just want to put on the appearance of a good person because you want the freedom to be a vulgar, vile, savage beast still to this day.
With Chantel's new married life claiming to have changed as a person, she was still the beast she once was. Being a newly converted Muslim, it's expected to have a few missteps. But one thing Allah hates is overeating. And Chantel, till this day, does the same thing.
Yep, and that's haram. Gluttony is considered haram, but that's not all she did. That's not all, y'all. The gluttony is not the only thing. Because, yeah, that's haram. Eating food that is non-halal, haram. Smoking is haram. Cursing is haram. Gossiping is haram. Being hateful is haram. She's done so many things. So many things. And she continues to do them. It's not like she had a moment where she was just herself and realized, hey, I can't act like this. Also, something I want to add in here, and this is just a point of interest for anybody listening, something that should be known. So let's go back to her doing the feeder content, because we know she does it. She practically confirmed it the other day, saying, yeah, I get paid to eat. She basically said, I do feeder content. Okay, so you do. Now, let's think about this angle. Chantal does the feeder content. There are lots of people online who do feeder content. So regular feeder content is kind of a dime a dozen. In my opinion, what Chantal has done is create a special niche within a niche. You know, seeing an ordinary person do the feeder content, okay, that's common. But to see a Muslim, allegedly a Muslim woman doing feeder content, that is something you don't see every day. Just because in the Muslim faith, gluttony is haram, right? I just said that. So here is this supposedly Muslim woman committing gluttony, committing a haram act. So her feeder content, not only can she do regular feeder content, but acting as if she's a Muslim woman, she created another niche within a niche, and she can ask more money. And here's another possibility. I'll take it even further. So Chantal likes to say about Girl World that we are guilty of Islamophobia and being Islamophobic, right? Which I haven't seen any evidence of that. I think for Girl World, we've been very respectful of the Muslim faith and the Muslim people. Very respectful. There is a possibility that little Miss Chantal may have done content for people who actually are Islamophobic, who have a problem with Islam, who have a problem with the Muslim faith. There are people out there who want to see content where you are desecrating and degrading a certain faith or religion or spiritual beliefs. Some of her clients, and I'm saying this is a possibility, this is not a definite, I don't have any receipts, but there might be people out there that are requesting certain kinds of feeder content that they may have a problem with Muslim people who are Islamophobic. They want to see a Muslim person committing a haram act. So it's not about the food, it's about the food plus maybe a certain kind of hate they may have and putting the two together. I'm not saying 100% certain she's done this, but the possibility is there. But with Chantal, she's not going to care who her clients are or what their interests are or what the intentions are. All she cares about is getting that money in pocket. But I just want to make you guys aware of that stuff. She could be doing regular feeder content or content, a niche within a niche, portraying herself as a Muslim woman, or maybe catering to those who may have a problem with Muslim people that want to see a Muslim woman do something that goes against the Muslim faith. Just putting that out there for y'all.
Eating over and over again. And with this newfound husband, she apparently developed an ego bigger than her belly.
And listen carefully, please. Why would Salah go for you?
You're not a Canadian queen, you're a Canadian cow. That's why. He went for you in 2 days because he found out you had lots of money. And Chantal, I'm going to say it again. As someone who's been married twice and didn't pay for either one of my husbands. If he loved you, girlfriend, why are you paying for him? Why are you paying his way? Why are you paying his bills? Shouldn't it be the other way around? If you were his princess and his queen, and he claims to have loved you so much and he's so successful and he's got his own business, why are you paying for everything? If he loved you, why wouldn't he be coming to you and saying, you know what, baby girl, you got a problem with food. Let's fix this. I'll pay for everything. I'll work 4 jobs if I have to. You don't have to do these mukbangs. Let's get you healthy. That's what a loving partner would do. They would not look at their supposed wife and say, I'm going to put you and your addiction to work. You're going to go for it. You're going to advertise for those feeders and you're going to do all these mukbangs. And I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you got high blood pressure and high blood sugar. Get to work. That screams of somebody who does not care about you and they might be trying to induce a medical event. Totally not caring.
Me. You make no sense. Anyway.
But this wasn't the only time she displayed a large ego, as she went on to claim people are jealous of her life, apparently.
They're all seething with jealousy. They're so pathetic because every single thing they predicted in their dumb conspiracies is wrong. I'm in Kuwait. Kuwait is, what are you going to do? Huh?
Yeah, Chantel, we're definitely jealous of you, love. I mean, I've always wanted to be someone
Now,
who...
you know what? I confess. I'm jealous of Chantal, y'all. I'm jealous. Green-eyed jealousy. I'm jealous of Chantal. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of her lifestyle where she's stuck in a house all day and she doesn't go anywhere and she has nobody to talk to and she lays in the seal position and she has trouble breathing and she has trouble walking and she hasn't seen her feet since 1985. Yeah, I'm so jealous of her. I totally don't like the life that I have where I can walk outside my door and hear the birds singing and pet my half feral cat Blackie every day, several times a day. I'm so jealous. I mean, screw this life with the sunshine and the birds and the clouds and nature. Who needs it? I want to sit in a house and do nothing. So jealous. I'm jealous, y'all. Jealous.
Needed assistance climbing a curb, or even someone who just simply got out of breath trying to get ketchup out of a bottle. However, ladies and gentlemen, with her newfound ego, hypocrisy also started to slip through. And I'm not talking about her constant diet shift, in which we are going to go hard on in a few minutes. I'm talking about her delusional comments she makes in her videos and live streams, where she claims apparently, ladies and gentlemen, that she would change for no man.
Don't change for any man. Don't change for yourself. Nobody knows.
Yeah, the dynamic
Yeah.
is, Chantal, you are the employer. He's the employee. You make the money. You pay him for whatever service is rendered. That's the way it's always been. The channel is your story that you write in real time. You make up things as you please. And he's just a walk-on part player every once in a while. And he fetches your food. The end.
Okay, Chantal, sure. You moved halfway across the world, got married to someone that you've only known for 30 days, and converted to Islam. Hey, you'd never change for anybody, right?
No.
But in a twist of fate, ladies and gentlemen, it turns out that our friend Salah had bigger plans than going down on our Canadian queen.
My husband cheated on me. He admitted it today.
God, yeah.
And isn't
What?
that something, Chantal? I'm just going to throw this in your face. There you are. You moved all the way to Kuwait to be with Salah. And you have to pay for every bit of attention he gives you. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, when you went home to Canada, he wasted no time talking to somebody else, talking to Miss Kybella. And she got his attention for free. He was saying things to her that I'm sure he's never said to you. Giving her all kinds of sexual attention. Not that Kybella wanted it, but still, like in 3 weeks, she got more of that attention from him than you ever have. Didn't have to pay for it. Yet you pay thousands of dollars just to have him pinch your cheeks and pat you on the head. Girl, where is your pride? Where is your pride? And here's the thing about the whole Kybella thing. That wasn't the first violation, y'all. Let's go back in time a little bit with Mr. Salah. He's been caught multiple times. Multiple. And Chantal keeps glossing over it. Let's see. There was an incident that I heard about where she saw stuff on Salah's phone and she got upset about it. Some kind of pictures of a woman. So there was that, right? And then there was the Red Room picture. She got upset over that. And then something happened in Thailand. I don't know exactly what. So that's 4 incidents. 4. 4. Not just 1, 4. She keeps forgiving it because he's a walk-on player and she's not ready to dismiss him. If that relationship were real, letting him back. You know what? I'm thinking about something right now. I keep remembering the first part of the video with Pete's. How he looked at Chantal and said, I don't care if you see other people, just don't leave me. And she did him dirty, didn't she? Now here's Chantal in the exact same situation. Well done, Karma. Well done. Make her into the pathetic one. Love it. I love it the most.
Shocker. I suppose it's slightly embarrassing now, Chantal, isn't it? The unearned ego of yours was all for nothing. But, ladies and gentlemen, despite her failing love life, oversharing of details, it doesn't compare to the main issue at hand. Ladies and gentlemen, for years, Foodie Beauty has followed the same template to begin diets to only find herself face
The Chantal cycle.
planted in Greece a few days later. The cycle begins as follows. She starts off with a new weight loss journey. Shortly after, breaks down, then binges herself in cheeseburgers. And it's not long after her grub crawl that she realizes she needs to lose weight. And then the cycle continues. And this became a vicious cycle that everyone recognizes until this day. So let's delve deeper into that. She has repeatedly claimed that her weight is affecting her health and has promised to make changes. But over the span of her channel, she has embarked on several weight loss journeys. Her initial efforts were inspiring to her followers.
This right here, this clip is feeder content. Somebody paid her for
Such as keto, OMAD, and water fasting. However, she often reverted to her old
Yeah,
habits
because
just after a few
the
days.
majority of the people that are on Chantal's channel, they either have food issues themselves and they're part of her audience, and those freaking idiots are the ones that know about her food issues, and they come in there talking about food, mentioning food, encouraging her to eat. And by the way, I'll stand on business saying that's fucked up to those people doing that. That is fucked up. I don't like Chantal. I don't like her. She's evil. But for somebody to encourage an addict, to encourage in their addiction, that is so messed up. That's really messed up. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you got a fetish. That is messed up. So she's got food issues. People in her audience may have food issues, or they're a food fetish person. That's her bread and butter. That has always been her bread and butter. She could do a lot more with her channel. She could turn it a different way. She doesn't want to. But as long as those people are in the audience talking about food, mentioning food, it's going to keep the machine going. It's going to keep putting fuel in that toxic gas tank known as Chantal. And I'm getting a song in my head right now. Pink Floyd, Welcome to the Machine. There you have it. Welcome to the machine. It's the Chantal channel, the Chantal story cycle. It's a machine that goes around and around and around, and it never stops because she doesn't want to pull the lever down and shut off the power. Break the wheel. It's never going to stop, ever. She's created this whole multi-layered, multi-leveled system of toxicity and addiction and enabling that is insane.
And her excuses for stopping were even more sad.
Dieting. I'm sick of thinking about it. Like I said before, like I'm sick of like counting calories, measuring food. It's just so monotonous, you know? Just worrying about how much counting macros and
You were unable to count the calories, but somehow you're more than able to count all the men you've been with. Oh, guys. But sadly, ladies and gentlemen, she has since removed her older videos and leaving us with little difference. But luckily for her, not much has changed in the present. Releasing videos such as saving my life by losing 200.
Yeah, speaking of that, the whole taking away the old feeder videos. I don't know if she's deleted those videos or she privated them. I think she might have privated those videos or put them somewhere else. But what a foolish thing to do if you're somebody and you rely on YouTube. You've got those videos on your channel making you money, and you get rid of them for the sake of a man who's a complete loser.
£100. My plus-sized life. Now do not be fooled, ladies and gentlemen, as this is nothing more than a perfectly orchestrated plan to maintain consistent views on her channel. And you will see that shortly. She proceeded to post several more videos exercising in order to trust with which she succeeded.
Yeah, that's a manipulation tactic, Curtis. This is what she does. She starts out talking about all of her health issues and just pulling everybody in about her health issues and making everybody aware about how sick she is because she wants the sympathy. She wants people to worry for her. Then she absolutely loses her mind. She'll have those binge moments on camera, getting everybody upset, getting everybody, again, more worried and more concerned. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. And when people start to get too frustrated with her, when they're at the point where they've just about had enough of her nonsense and they are making the decision in their mind of, I can't be here and I can't watch this self-destruction, she kind of picks up on that. The fact that her audience is at the end of their rope, and what she'll do is that's when she'll go into the weight loss. I'm taking care of my health now. I'm realizing I'm hurting myself. She basically throws a scrap of hope to her audience that she's going to care this time. Things are going to be different this time. And so they're starving. They're starving for positivity, and they feed on that scrap, and it keeps them around a little bit longer. So she feeds them a scrap. They feed on it. They eat it. Their belly is never completely full. She makes sure of that. And then she goes right back to it's a cycle. Oh, I'm sick, even though she's the reason for being sick. I'm really sick. I got health issues. Whoops. I'm down here like doing the mukbangs. People get sick. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to care this time. And around we go.
Needed to follow through it. A walking weight loss challenge. 2 hours of walking. Bloody hell. She's really stepped up her game, losing 200 pounds the fun way. I mean, look at that. She
Yeah, clickbait title. She never walked that mile for 2 hours. She absolutely did not.
even treated herself to a beachside walk. And everything just seemed to be going great for Chantel. If you are familiar with the Foodieverse, I'm
Can't walk. She deliberately had somebody take a picture of her in a wheelchair that's much too small for her. But putting a title like that to make her audience worry, to get the extra views, off the extra clicks. One of her, imagine being a Beezer, imagine being one of her subs, and you care about her and you're concerned for her, and you see this video title, I Can't Walk. As a human being having humanity, you're going to click on saying, what's wrong, Chantal? And then you find out that she lied. She could walk, she just doesn't want to.
with a thumbnail reading, so much pain with her sat in a wheelchair. Well, there she goes again, ladies and gentlemen, wheeling herself to enjoy some Five Guys. Or Five Guys. And of course, we are all aware of this by now. It's time to once again, and falling back on her promises to lose 200 pounds, completely undoing her quote-unquote hard work, and people are sick of it. I don't understand how she's not tired of her own BS.
A comment from somebody saying, I don't understand how she's not tired of her own BS. It gets old really fast, and she's doing and saying the same things for years and probably her whole life. You want to know why? Because she gets away with it. See, Chantal's an abusive person. She is. And when you are an abusive person and you are locked in on a target, on a victim, there are many things you can do to get control of your victim. In this case, in my opinion, the people on Chantal's channel, they are not aware of the fact that they are involved in an abusive relationship with Chantal. She may not be physically there in person with each and every one of them, but the things that Chantal does, the stress that she puts them under, the lies, the manipulation, the, like intimidation, bullying. What is that if not an abusive relationship? What is that if not an abusive relationship? They are involved in an abusive relationship with that woman. So one of the things that abusers do is they isolate their targets. In Chantal's case, she goes to her audience and she says, I'm telling the complete truth. Don't listen to the reaction channels. Stay over here. If she finds out that any of our Beezers go to the reaction channel, she'll block that person immediately. So there's an air of circling the wagons in order to maintain control. Like she's going to wrap the wagons around her Beezers as much as possible to make sure that they don't get an outside point of view and learn the truth about her. So isolate the targets. Make them feel like you are the one telling the truth, that they can trust you. And then the next phase comes. The next phase of the abuse starts. Putting down people, bullying people, intimidating people, talking down to them, making them feel like they're nothing. She's done that too. lying to them, pushing to their absolute mental, emotional limits, pushing them as far as you could possibly push them. And then when you feel like you pushed a little bit too far, do something to pull them back to you. And if that person or people, if they continue to stay, then you feel like you have a victory and you can push them further the next time and the time after that and the time after that and the time after that. So she's always testing the boundaries of her beezers by the lies and manipulation and the gaslighting. Always testing the boundaries. Always doing the duper's delight thing where she lies and she smirks because she knows her beezers will let her get away with it, that they will never leave. The longer that people stay on her channel, the more she feels like she can get away with because they let her get away with it. They're enabling it. A lot of them are enabling her behavior. And you can't enable someone like her in any respect at any time, because by enabling them, you're making them worse. So her doing the same stuff for years, it's because all of her life, nobody ever did a hard correct with her. She's gotten away with things, and she's always testing the boundaries of what she can get away with, what lies she can tell, how far she can take it. That's the kind of person she is.
Yes, and she's been doing and saying the same thing for years, and probably her whole life now. She followed up with the same strategy 3 months later, with a weight loss vlog. In her newfound motivation, she was determined to lose some weight. But in each thumbnail following that weight loss video, it was clear that her meal portions just got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, because she went all in with the feeder content. Like, that's her moneymaker, that's her bread and butter. So she went all in with it. She went absolutely all in. It's stupid. It's absolutely stupid. But we're talking about Chantal. She's stupid.
Bigger and bigger. However, nothing truly changes, ladies and gentlemen. She lacks a significant amount of self-discipline, which is evident in her speaking, often disingenuous and generally ignorant of her own.
Like a health huge mukbangs.
Well, what the heck do you call that pizza mukbang then, Chantal? The one you did recently where you ate an entire pizza in front of the camera, and there was a second one that you ate off camera. What's that? What's that about? Would you not call that an unhealthy mukbang?
But I'm also allowed to change my mind on that.
There you go. She never lies. She changes her mind. And she'll say that she changed her mind to avoid the fact that she did lie. And she made empty promises.
And just from this clip alone, it's clear her intentions are not from a place of authenticity.
Nope.
Chantal, you will change your mind, as you have always done. And viewers know the words you speak. And this clip right here is evidence once again.
In bed praying, like praying and praying and praying.
First of all, I don't believe that Chantal prays. She doesn't pray. But like, you don't pray, Chantal. I don't think that you are connected to spirit. I don't think you care about that. I think that part of yourself, you block that off. You're all about the primal side of yourself and fulfilling it and being hedonistic. You're connected to that strongly, but to no other part.
Praying until I fall asleep and, asking for mercy and help to feel better. Promising to take care of my health and ask for forgiveness for damaging my health by taking it for granted. Like a joke.
So she claims she's in bed praying, ladies and gentlemen, asking for forgiveness, claiming she will promise to take care of her body. So what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think she's stuck to the words that she preaches?
Nope.
Or out than ever? And 14 days later, she's back to thrusting shit down her throat once again.
Yeah, and she hated Girl World because we said in no time at all she'd be back to mukbangs, and she did. She proved us right.
Like the chili just like soaks inside the fries.
I mean, that's just more than predictable, if I may say so myself. And present day now, ladies and gentlemen, she seems to have totally given up on creating diet content. In fact, she's going to carry on doing mukbangs.
I don't want to come on here and explain why I'm eating a cheeseburger. I don't want to come on here and explain my weight loss or gain or whatever the heck.
Yeah, you want to know why she doesn't want to get on and explain that stuff? Because talking about weight loss and showing healthy eating and healthy meals doesn't get as many views and doesn't make as much money as going full tilt with the food and doing the unhealthy mukbangs. She's very money motivated. She's very money determined. So she's zeroing in on what will make the most money. So she's going to be catering to those feeders any and every which way she can. And the feeders don't want to know about the healthy food. They don't want to know about diets or healthy meal portions or healthy meals, period. The more unhealthy, the better. And she pays attention to her views, y'all. She pays attention to what gets an uptick in views and money. So she's like, screw all this talk about healthy eating and portions and diet, and no, screw that. That's not making me as much money. I'm just going to go full thrust with the stuff with the feeders because that's what they want. I'm going to give those people what they want.
And be like, I gained half a kilo this week.
In essence, she's not doing the healthy stuff because it's not profitable enough. And Chantal has a food habit like no other. I remember she did a video or a live stream in Canada where she confessed that while she was there, she was spending like between $4,000 to $6,000 a month in food, just in food alone. This isn't counting the money she was spending on party favors and green products and everything else. $4,000 a month. And let's not add in all of her trips to Starbucks and junk food because that's a whole separate cost. But that's how bad her food habit is. And it's probably even worse now.
Guys, no, I don't want it. And I don't want to, also go balls to the wall and super strict on a diet. And I don't enjoy doing that content whatsoever. I enjoy it. It makes me feel like losing weight and getting healthy is like a punishment. It feels like a punishment when I do that. I want to just go back to learn how to be like a normal person. Like, look at...
Yeah, well, eating 2 pizzas all at once is not normal. Sorry, Chantal. Eating a portion of 4 people every time you sit down to eat is not normal. It may be your normal, but it's abnormal.
Someone like Salah, they don't have to count calories. They don't have to worry.
Right, because they're not food addicts. You are. It's the same thing with you like to bring up other mukbangers on YouTube. You're like, they're mukbangers and they're doing a mukbang. They don't have a food addiction. You do. That's the difference. Like they'll do their mukbangs, but then after done doing their mukbangs, they go out and lead normal lives. That is not you. There is a difference here.
Oh, they just listen to their normal hunger cues, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and you don't have them. See?
Yes, Chantal, but Salah doesn't have a food addiction. The reason he doesn't need to count his calories is because he is not morbidly obese. Of course, people who exercise and regularly hit the gym...
Hold on a second. Not only that, Curtis, he's not morbidly obese. Absolutely true. But he's also not a food addict. She's got a food obsession. She's got food addiction. Extreme. That she needs help for. She needs to go to inpatient, strict, lockdown inpatient. And she will never go. She will never go to therapy. So Salah is not her. But she is her, and she's got an issue.
Also count their calorie intake. But for you to be a person who lives their life not counting calories is going to first take a lot of discipline. In a shocking revelation, it turns out that her husband is not the cleanest of humans either.
He doesn't play in his own shit. He wanted to shit on a stupid whore. That's different.
Was a shit on a whore? Did you say? Was it shit on a whore?
What?
Okay, well, that's slightly concerning, if I may say so myself. And I'm sure you can see Chantel will never successfully complete a weight loss journey. She's been trying for years now, and she continuously goes through the same toxic cycle constantly. And us audience members have to...
You know, I think it's time to tell the truth here, Chantal. I don't think you've ever been on a weight loss journey. You talk about it, but you're not being about it. I think what's really going on here, what's been going on for years, you were not on a weight loss journey. You were on a weight gain journey. You've always been on a weight gain journey. I think the goal the entire time was you had this dream, this fantasy life of being a feeder fetish model or someone that did that kind of content and getting as big as possible and having people around you, enabling you, funding you to make that happen. I mean, you even fantasize about being bedbound and having somebody wait on you to continue that lifestyle. I mean, that's really messed up, but that is your idea of a happy life. You create this whole system to make that happen, to get to a certain size and have people around you to help you physically in your real life and have the online support system to fund it all. It's nuts.
sit down and just watch her slowly destroy herself. And surprisingly, even though this video was a bit of a deep dive, I only covered about 10 to this.
Yeah, I will check out your other videos, Curtis. I just heard about your video courtesy of the channel Life in Vibe. She did a community post about you. So I enjoyed your video thoroughly. I think you did a really wonderful job. You're right. There's so much in the foodieverse. I mean, 8 years, it's hard to condense it all into one video. That's why the channel Mr. Snowflake, he's having to do like a multi-part docu-series on Chantal because there's just too much to go over at once. Anyway, so thank you for posting this video. I'm going to go ahead and post the react to my channel. And again, anyone who wants to check out Curtis's video, I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. And I do encourage you to check it out. And there's also another documentary type thing from 4 years ago. I might react to that also later. But I enjoyed this one, Curtis. Really, really well done. So thank you guys for watching today. Hope you have a lovely day. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.